Well, hello there, you filthy scallywags. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic week. If you look on my screen right now, you know the topic at hand. But right before, I gotta say that Dragon's Dogma is coming out in about 1.5 weeks. And let me just tell you, I am so hyped. The character creator is out right now and on platforms, and you can go ahead and create your characters before copying the game. And let me just say, character creator itself is fantastic. The gameplay I've seen is fantastic. But without further ado, let's get to the topic at hand. Sweet Baby Inc. What is it? What is it? Is it really a sweet baby? Are they really just making games about sweet babies? No, they're a filthy baby. That's what they are. They're a filthy, disgusting, nasty, horrendous company. Baby. They're like if Drake. What happened with the Drake video the few weeks ago? This is that company. This is that company. Probably promoted it themselves. They are disgusting. I don't like any of their motives. They're liars. I think that anybody that prides themselves in inserting things into entertainment for inclusivity, and it's all money driven tactics to essentially push out, hey, people of this group will really enjoy this game. Oh my goodness, no they won't. The game is garbage. Just because you change the skin tone, just because you switch the culture, doesn't mean that everybody and their mothers is going to pick it up solely because they kind of identify with the character. If it's a bad game, it is a bad game. I would rather play as a white Peter Parker than a Hispanic one if the game is just absolute doggy doo-doo. Sorry to say it to you, but I don't like playing booty cheek games. And if I want to play a really good game with a lot of diversity, I'd buy a game with a character creator that's already good, like Elden Ring, upcoming Dragon's Dogma. Nobody plays Leon Kennedy and says, wow, this guy is a blonde, white male with blue eyes, and he's an officer. Let's riot. Nobody says that. Everybody just plays the game because it's a good game. So let's read about what Sweet Baby is. Let's read about what Sweet Baby is because it's their own fault that they're on the news like this. So, projects. We love making games no matter the size or scope. I gotta read it like that because I can't read it the same way I usually talk. And we're always excited to help you with the best story possible. Tell the best story possible. Sorry. All these colors and swirlies are giving me an aneurysm, man. Featured project, Sable. Okay, announced project. So these are games that they have worked on. Alan Wake 2, God of War Ragnarok. I'm just pointing out the big ones. Suicide Squad and Spider-Man 2. These three games are very good. This one, it's mid. It's not terrible and it's not the best. I would prefer to play Helldivers 2, but nonetheless, it's not a terrible game. It's just not a good one. If we look right here, we worked on story consultation. We worked on narrative and character consultation with a focus on representation. Now, I hate to be the one that assumes, and when you guys look at me, I want you guys to know that I'm Hispanic, and I'm not saying these things because I'm hateful. It's not because I don't want anything. I don't like diversity in games because I love it. I love seeing Hispanics. I love seeing African Americans. I love seeing Asian. Any type of culture, man. There's so many cultures that go underrepresented in games, but in this case, I gotta say that they push my buttons just a little too much because I like it when games stay consistent to a story that they're trying to tell and they stay consistent to the root of the story that they're already telling. You don't just start switching characters just because you feel like it. Alan Wake 2. We worked on character arc, voice, and sensitivity reading. Honestly, Alan Wake 2, I feel like did a good job with inclusivity. God of War Ragnarok. It's not that I had anything against the character itself. That's not what it is. But we all know that they inserted something, and I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't played the game. It's already been out for a minute, but there's a certain character that was changed race and hair. That's not a big deal to me. I still bought the game and played it completely. But the whole thing about it was that the character was supposed to be white and ginger. Redhead. My whole thing is, how do you switch an entire race and hair? And then just expect people to be okay with it just because you think it's okay. This is where the contrast of actual media starts to begin. When you realize that not everybody that's buying this game is looking for representation. Not everybody that's purchasing any type of game is looking for representation. Spider-Man 2. Dude, Miles Morales has some of the best character building. Honestly, I think they did a better job with Miles Morales than they did with Peter Parker. Storytelling wise. Because Peter Parker, we all kind of know what's going on. But if you guys have watched Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, you guys know that they have been dropping some major heat with Miles Morales. He has been getting some fantastic movies and great representation to both Puerto Ricans and African Americans alike. However, if you played the game, Spider-Man 2, self-insertion, story consultation, there were times where I felt like Peter Parker was being kind of demonized in the game. And I hate to be like that again. I'm Hispanic and I like diversity. But if you guys play the game, there's certain points where you're just like, why would they do that? Why did they feel the need to make Peter Parker like that? Suicide Squad. There's really not much for me. I don't really see any inclusivity or anything other than Deadshot. I mean, if we're being honest, you got a shark, 2 white people, and Deadshot. You got Harley Quinn, and I believe Deadshot is African American. So, and maybe Shark is Hispanic. Maybe if they try to pull that one, because I heard some weird stuff popping up online. I'm not even gonna cover it because that's way too trippy. I'm not even gonna say anything about what they're talking about with this game, man. There was just some stuff I was just like, dude, that's making me vomit. Seriously. If we look at other games, Motorfest, and you know, they just work on games here and there, but the clientele is the big thing for me. Xbox Game Studios. I'm just gonna name out the big ones. Valve, Electronic Arts, Santa Monica, Ubisoft, 2K, Square Enix, Warner Bros, and then we have Rocksteady. The list keeps going on. There's so many companies that make games that trust these people. We look at their approach. Sweet Baby Inc. is an inclusion-focused narrative and consultation company. We're building a team and a process in hopes of building a kinder, more sustainable industry at every scale. Whether you need a fresh pair of eyes or a guiding hand, we're here to work with you. We begin with an all-hands review and discussion of the project material. Everyone at Sweet Baby sees your project and shares their thoughts, feelings, and ideas. We do this because it kicks the project off with a multitude of perspectives, beginning a conversation that ensures the work is richer and more resonant before it's even put on to paper. We then create and complete narrative deliverables by keeping the player in mind. With a focus on user experience and emotional design, we aim to consult with honesty, transparency, and conversational approach to help find the best direction for your project. We bring diverse voices to solve diverse problems. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Let's read that again. What did they say? What did they say right here that they do? We bring in diverse voices to solve diverse problems. We're an inclusion-focused narrative and consultation company. Kinder. Say it louder. Kinder. Huh. It's almost as if they're really nice people. They're sweet. They're sweet babies. Oh my goodness, they have done such a good job. Give them an award for being sweet. Boom. The sweet only goes so far as people that join us. We're only good if you join us. Our cult is only as good as the gods themselves. This is what this company is. This is why I have an issue with them. They are two-faced. How do you say that you're kind, inclusive, and the moment a guy starts pointing out the games you have worked on as games to avoid, because if we're being honest, bad. I mean, not necessarily bad. Avoid them. Avoid it. Okay, all these games kind of just aren't that good. They're just not that good. So what is their problem with this? What is their problem with somebody vocalizing the games they have worked on? hey, let's keep an eye out. Let's keep an eye out. Let's make sure we don't buy games from the games they have worked on. Maybe it drops your stock a little bit, but you know what drops it worse? When you actively go against the people that you are trying to include in games. This guy right here that created this entire thing got absolutely demonized by this Sweet Baby company. Yes, they try to take him down. And as deserved, they deserve all the backlash in the world. This has grown from the last time I checked, 100,000 followers. 100,000. Because of their dramatic, just nasty takes on other opinions other than the ones that are like their own. Sweet Baby Inc. employees fail spectacularly at trying to get Steam Curator banned. So not only did they try to get him banned, they failed miserably. Look at this. I get to see a lot of tweets somehow blaming diversity as the reason for layoffs, generally as if the economy was doing really great and capitalism simply worked before Miles Morales was Spider-Man. They also don't recognize Miles as Spider-Man. Blah, 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 blah. Keep going on. So, this is the guy that I really want to harp on. This girl, I don't know how they identify. I apologize. He, her, they, them, whatever you may identify as, I apologize. I can't ask you up front, so I'm just going to go with what I see in the picture. They. The Steam Curator harassment group, Sweet Baby Inc. detected, is led by this person. I'm not even going to read that. Here's them trying to be slick so they don't get reported. Even with the discriminatory language filed off the group itself, still fails the code of conduct. So them trying to get somebody banned? And report the creator since he loves his account so much. So because they had a disagreement, they try to get somebody banned. Isn't that not kind? Isn't that not diverse? Isn't that not inclusive? It's almost like I'm onto something. And here's the knife that stabbed me in my heart. I couldn't believe when I read this because I started catching up on Sweet Baby Inc. And I started reading, and I actually started following this profile before it got banned. And short after we got the news that Toriyama had passed away. Rest in peace, one of the greats has brought in so much diversity and inclusion and kindness to this world. See where we're going here? Toriyama gave us the best and worst black characters in anime in the same series. It took range to do that. Yeah. Tell them, Piccolo. Okay. So not only did this person slam them, they originally tried to get somebody banned for speaking out against them. Their account is now banned. Sweet Baby Inc. has not only proven themselves as being a very toxic company for allowing people like this onto their team. Baby narrative designer Chris Kindred. I'm gonna stay here for a second. People like this are the reason why entertainment is absolute doggy doo-doo. They're the exact reason why we can't have just everything that we've ever asked for in the gaming world right now. It's people like this. People like this get a little bit of power and get trippy and try to push their narrative, their ideas onto people. And the moment that they talk about inclusion, kindness, and diversity, you need to listen to what they're actually saying. Are they actually saying that there's diversity? Or are they actually saying that we are going to shove something down your throat and tell you that it's what you want? Because if it's not what you want, then you are a bad person. Is that really what they're saying? Because every time that these people come out and say that they're saying something about diversity, I've never felt identified with them. When has the last person that Chris Kindred came out and said anything about anything else except their own narrative? Because just a few seconds ago, they tried to get somebody banned, and then they spoke on somebody that was dead negatively. Talking about how they made some of the worst black characters. He's Asian! He's Asian! Let him represent himself! Why do you care? Why do you care? If there's really an issue with you, with people not being diverse, you're working at a company that works with inclusivity, kindness, and diversity, and then you're mad that even though he attempted to make diversity, it's bad. Sure, things were out of taste like Mr. Popo. But there's also plenty of other characters who are black in the series. And if you actually just paid attention and did any more further research than your own, you would identify that. But because you lack any actual human ability of empathy and actual diversity, you know nothing. You know nothing. How is an Asian man, including every single race, bad? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That makes no sense. Despicable people run this company. I don't blame Sweet Baby Inc. for creating bad games. That is not what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that they are the root of all the trash media. They've caused all the movies to fail. They've caused all the games to fail. That would be just ignorant of myself. Because some games actually just do suck at their core, and even if you change everything about the game, it would still suck. If you change the characters, if you change the narrative, it would still suck because of the gameplay itself. And here recently we've been getting a lot of games that forget about the gameplay and rush for that narrative, diverse, inclusivity, and they leave the gameplay to last, and then they fall short because they thought that if they made something that was very diverse, which I honestly love that they're doing, but if we're being honest, did we really need it? When has gaming ever not been diverse? We've had women leaders since the PS1. We've had black, Asian, Hispanic. Every type of character has had a game. Sure, maybe you don't want to play that game, but that doesn't mean just because you don't want to play that game that you can self-insert into other ones. That is unfair. That is the same thing that you are speaking out against. If a white male went to an Asian company, became CEO, let's say the CEO of Capcom was white, and then he started inserting white people everywhere, and every single character that you had that can be Asian was turned white, that's an example of not being inclusive. And the same thing works with African American, and it works the same for Hispanic and Asian. If you want to be like that, you need to take a look at everything else that everybody else does as well. What are you doing to actively include people in your games? Other than changing somebody. In God of War Ragnarok, they changed a redhead to I don't want to say African American because she's not. If we really look at where they're from, they're not even African American. I don't even know what type of race, ethnicity they were going with her. She's black race, but what is her ethnicity? I really cannot tell you. Honestly, I don't know where she's from other than she's a giant. And that's where I'm like, was it really needed? Was it really needed? Because at the end of the day, that's not inclusive. That's not actually representing anybody's ethnicity. That's just making a poster child for an advertisement. It's like when you go out in the street and you see a movie, right? And you go in to watch a movie, and then every single character is a certain color, and that's their advertisement. 90% of the time, that movie is trash. Or it's only directed to get that money really quick. Companies don't do this to actually be diverse. They do it for simple money cash grabs. If we look at the quartering right here, he posted this video. Kotaku destroyed for covering for Sweet Baby Inc. as senior editor wants to fight me and got busted. Let's just
individual.
watch.
We're gonna get to the fight, which is hilarious. So apparently, this individual who is Alyssa Mercanti, is the senior editor over at Kotaku, and just got
okay. Just right here, look at Alyssa's comment. If you guys just heard, she has a position at Sweet Baby. Hi, you can't be racist against white people. Thanks for tuning in.
completely obliterated by a community note. This was great. 5,000. My tweets, I've been tweeting out some bangers lately. Can I say bangers? I don't think so. I take that back. I've had some decent tweets lately. senior vice president of Kotaku, who infiltrated Sweet Baby Inc., which we're going to get to. But she replied, "Hi, you can't be racist against white people. Thanks for tuning in." Not only did she get ruthlessly ratioed, but then got community noted. Racism isn't limited to marginalized and or minority racist / ethnic groups. It is simply the unfair treatment of people who belong to a different specific race, which can in fact include white people.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's all we needed to see. That's all I wanted to show you from that video. I appreciate the quartering for posting that and giving us some more insight. But just, how does somebody make such an unhinged racist comment like that? If you know anybody that talks like that, let me just tell you, they're some of the most racist individuals I have ever seen. If you say that anybody cannot be stereotyped against, if you can't be racist towards a group, somebody has terribly ruined you. You are a ruined individual if you think like that. And I'm going to say it 100%. If you really think like that, man, you're one of the most racist individuals on the internet. You have already excluded yourself from any diversity, any kindness, and any inclusivity. You are a piece of dumpster fire, and you should reevaluate your core mental. You should really think about the way that you perceive race, ethnicity, and culture. I'm gonna be like this. As a Hispanic man that has experienced racism, let me just say, I don't care. If people like this are making the games, I don't care if I never see a Hispanic inside a game. I don't really care. I don't care if I see any black people. I don't care if I see any white people. I don't care if I see any Asian people. I don't care if I see any Latin Hispanic people. I don't care if I don't see any other race except the white male. Because I really do not play games to look for inclusivity. That's just how I feel. I don't really care about any type of diversity. I'm so tired of this whole nonsense. Sweet Baby should be taken off all of the games that they work on. And they need to reevaluate their core team. Because these people are not just some little interns. They have very high positions and they're spreading their own narrative and ideas and pushing against any that don't agree with themselves. Hey, you don't like the way I think? You're fired. That's basically how they're operating, and I honestly can't stand it. It's sickening. It's sickening. They are not the cause of games being bad, but they sure as heck don't help the situation. I would love to really see how they operate and make games, because I don't really think they do anything. I think that one person gets sent, they look over a game, and then they make their own opinions. They self-include and say, hey, maybe you should add a character of this race or ethnicity, and maybe it'll sell more. It'll speak to that community. I can assure you that even if that conversation went that way, it wasn't for actual inclusivity and diversity. The company agreed to it because of money. They said, ooh, that'll bring us more money? Let's do it. Let's do it. That's what's been happening with Disney. Ooh, let's do it. Let's bring in more money. Bomb, bomb, bomb. They failed. They flopped because nobody actually goes to see a movie and they're like, oh my goodness. Imagine if they were like this. This movie would be so much better. If it's a good movie, I can assure you nobody has said that. If it's a bad movie, then maybe. But there is no movie that I've ever watched that was really good and I said, wow, it would have been even better if they did this. No. If it's a really good movie, that's what it is, and I'm sorry to say. Any game that includes... Dude, Kratos is one of my prime examples. What is it? What color is his voice actor? What color has his voice actors been? Exactly. Both of them have been African American males. Now, in the game, one is to assume that Kratos' race is... I mean, he's covered in ash, but even when he wasn't, I mean, sure, he was a little tan, but he would identify as white. You would identify him as white. His kid is white. That's inclusivity. That is diversity. That is people of different cultures, ethnicities, and races working on a project, even though they don't personally identify with something. They are there. If you do not identify with them because they're solely their skin tone, you got an issue with you, buddy. If a character's personality doesn't line up with you and you assume that it's race, you are the problem. You need to go play a different game. The character is not the problem, and no matter if they switch the character to a different color, to a different race, it will not heal you. It will not bring what you actually seek. Go play a game with a character creator with a silent character, and people that play those games can identify with them because they can play them as them. They feel them. Characters have their own personalities, their own agendas, their own narrative, their own diversity. And the only reason I keep harping on those words is because of their funny little comment that they made in their approach tab, talking about inclusion and kindness. It's absolutely absurd. Honestly, I hope this company goes down to the ground because I don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this false diversity and inclusion in games. This is a complete and lie. They're making problems for themselves to solve. There is no issue. How many times back in the day could you grab a PS2 game and see somebody of Egyptian descent, of African American descent? A lot. A lot. You just did not play it. You just did not choose to. Don't tell me anything about that. Where have Native Americans gotten their game? If you're not gonna include everybody, you are not diverse. You're only doing it to fit your own narratives. That's it. With all that being said, guys, I know this was a little harder of a topic and it was a little bit longer of a video, but man, this had me riled up. Just seeing how a company like this can take full-on advantage of the words that they say and then actually do what they say, which is kindness, and then backlash against any other ideas. It just goes to show you this company is a complete and utter lie. It should be taken out of the gaming industry. It is complete and utter garbage. It deserves all the backlash it's getting. All its devs that talk against gamers and talk rudely to their consumers should also get what they deserve. If they're getting their accounts banned, it's not because, oh, it's a mass hatred. They shouldn't have said that. Just out of pocket stuff. They shouldn't have went out and said anything about Toriyama. They shouldn't have said you couldn't be racist to white people. Those are ridiculous comments that they're not even diverse or inclusive. They're just straight up, just out of pocket and personally charged. And then they think that people not agreeing with them is them being racist and not inclusive. They're the most non-inclusive people. Goodness gracious, man, I could go on for days talking about this company just being just nasty, this workers being nasty, but I'm a gamer at heart and I've been playing games for a year, and let me tell you something, guys. Gaming is one of the most diverse things in the world. It brings people together from all around the world, no matter the language you speak or the culture that you practice, the religion that you follow. If you don't follow a religion, that's okay too. Not everybody does. But guess what? A game can bring everybody together like things other than that cannot. Whether it's sports, gaming just has a spot. It can make a world where you can be anything you create to and you can step out of your own place. The real world is the real world and games are games. Let them be fun and entertaining because that is all that we ask for from companies. We don't care about this diversity stuff. We care about the quality of games and the entertainment that we get from them. We love companies to include people, yes. It's always good to have that. But don't do it at the cost of the narrative drive and the gameplay of the game. Please leave a like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts down below. Again, I apologize for it being a longer video and I have some strong opinions, but just let me know how you guys feel. Peace out.